What's up, guys? This is the Honest Outlaw here, and today we're going to be talking about the top 5 future guns. And what I mean by that is either in their current form or updated versions of these guns I feel like will take over as the most commonplace firearm in the future. Anywhere from pistol to rifle, these firearms will have some sort of unique feature that makes them more advanced than the most common versions nowadays. Let's start off with the, I guess, semi-automatic pistols like the STRYK A and B from Prime Manufacturing Group. This video was the #1 video on my most anticipated guns of 2016. It was not released in 2016. This is being filmed in middle of December 2016. It's still not out yet. The STRYK A is around the size of the Glock 34. The STRYK B is around the size of the Glock 19. And what makes this pistol so unique is that it has a very unique locking block mechanism. So instead of the Browning locking lug design, it's got a barrel locking system which has a barrel lock that comes out separately from the barrel. Since there are no lugs on top of the barrel, it allows them to take the bore axis even lower than a Glock or an M&P, which in turn gives the pistol less muzzle flip and a lower bore axis. Muzzle flip is a large part of what most people feel in the recoil of the pistol when they shoot. So if you make the barrel more in line with your hand instead of a flip, it will just push your pistol back. Therefore, you'll have quicker follow-up shots. So that's a big plus for me. The barrel also doesn't flip, which adds a little bit less recoil as well. The STRYK A and B are basically a Gen 2 of Arsenal's STRYK 1. The Arsenal STRYK 1's been out for about a year and a half now, and it's got really good reviews. This, however, will be an upgraded version of it. It will have Glock sights, so Glock has the most popular sights as far as aftermarket goes in the United States, so you can use pretty much any sight that you'd want. It also will have an upgraded trigger compared to the original STRYK 1. One of the complaints about the STRYK 1 is the trigger is a little iffy. The trigger is going to be manufactured by Salient Arms. Salient Arms is famous for having their custom Glocks, their super pimped out Glocks. Prime Manufacturing Group is a collaboration between Prime Ammunition, Arsenal, who brings the pistols in from Italy, and Salient Arms, who I'm sure is doing a lot of customization on the pistol itself, grip stippling, things like that. Along with the STRYK 1, at least, the STRYK 1 was extremely reliable. It was even used by the Russian Special Forces. If you want to check out a couple of videos on that, check out Larry Vickers. Larry Vickers has a great video with the Russian Special Forces where they're shooting each other in vests. It's completely insane, but check it out. As I said, this is not a Russian pistol, though. It is imported from Italy, and the MSRP will be around $800. That's a little bit more than Glock or M&P, but it also offers a lot more as far as features go. #2 on the list is the SKO Bull. It's a 12-gauge bullpup shotgun by Standard Manufacturing Group. They're the same company that brought you the DP12. They're kind of a new company on the scene, but they're really making some headway in the past year. It is a magazine-fed 12-gauge, again, bullpup configuration, and what that means is the action is behind the actual pistol grip to make the overall length of the shotgun shorter. And for me, I think bullpups and shotguns just really go together. I do like bullpup rifles. I've got a pretty popular video out there called Why Bullpups Suck, but again, you'll have to watch the video to really understand, but I really do like the bullpup platform, and I think it probably is the next evolution of firearms once they work out all the kinks. But as far as bullpups and shotguns go, I can't think of anything more devastating in close quarters than a shotgun, and adding a bullpup to it is pretty awesome. The reason why this shotgun makes the list over guns like the UTAS or the KSG for that matter is because this shotgun is a semi-automatic bullpup. And unlike the CRYE Precision and things like that, this seems to be perfectly reliable from what I hear. Obviously, the gun's not out yet. but it's also magazine fed. It takes 5 to 10 round magazines, and I just think that's an amazing feat. The only problem that I see with that is light guns like the Sega and the CHIAPPA is a bullpup version of the Sega I actually owned a couple of years ago before I had the channel. Some of the issues that you'll find with magazine-fed shotguns is that since shotgun rounds are now made with a plastic case, they have a tendency to dent and divot if left in the magazine, and then you have reliability issues. You can overcome that by buying metal shotgun shells. They still do exist, just like they did back in the Old West times. They're very expensive though. They're about $10 a round. So, in my opinion, if you really want, a great self-defense platform, you can go with the SKO Bull. MSRP is around $13.99. Get yourself about $10 a shot ammunition. Buy one box, make sure it works, keep it in there. Absolutely perfect home defense gun. There's also a standard version that comes with it. The stock on the SKO Bull, I think, has the recoil absorption mechanism that the DP12 had. It's gas operated, very similar to a Remington 1100. And it has AR-15 controls, I believe, like the safety, pistol grip, trigger, etc. Number 3 is another gun from my previous excited about 2016 guns, best new guns of 2016 list, and it is the Desertec MDR. During this, I'm going to make some comparisons to the X95 because they're both very similar guns, and I've actually owned the X95. It, unlike the MDR, did come out in 2016. It debuted in SHOT Show 2014, so we've been waiting for it for a while, but there's a reason why people have been waiting for it. It's made by Desertec, and it's the same company that makes like the SRS rifles. They're really, really accurate bullpup precision rifles on calibers like 6.5 Creedmoor, stuff like that. One thing that sets Desertec apart from a lot of other bullpups is their bullpups have amazing triggers. They really worked out the trigger mechanism, and from the Military Arms Channel preview of the MDR, it looks like they've done the same with that rifle. A lot of my information is going to be from that video and other people's videos on SHOT Show about the MDR, so you can check those out after you're done with this video, or before, whatever. But it comes to market, at least it's supposed to, in 5.56 and 308. And that's where the differences between this bullpup and other bullpups really begin to show, because most rifles, like an AR-15 or some other versions of the AR-15, can switch between 5.56, 300 blackout, 6.5, 6.8, etc. But the highest you can really go, as far as effective rounds go, you got 458 SOCOM, 50 Beowulf. But those rounds, they pack a lot of punch up close, but they fall in long range. And you have 6.5 Grendel, which can go quite a ways, but kind of lackluster in the power department compared to something like a 308. A 308 is more meant for a large caliber battle rifle. Well, this rifle supposedly has caliber conversion kits between the two. So you can have a 308 for hunting, for long range, for whatever you want to do, and you can have a 5.56 for plinking, home defense, or whatever you feel like having. Two rifles basically in one with a relatively quick barrel and bolt change, and it comes with a insert for the magazine, because obviously 5.56 magazines are smaller. Supposedly, from the videos that I've watched, it has incredibly low recoil, very reliable AR-15 controls with the charging handle of an MP5. So that, to me, is pretty exciting. Other than the most obvious features, the last feature I'm really excited for is to have a bullpup with a thin handguard. I'm one of those weirdos who shoot with my thumb over the bore when I shoot an AR-15 in order to control the gun completely, and with the MDR you'll be able to do that, as opposed to guns like the X95, which I did really like. But again, you have more of a SCAR 16 type of big quad rail on it still, whereas the MDR looks like it's going to come into the 21st century and have a small thin rail that's easier to get a hold of. Number 4 is actually a gun that's been out a long time, but not only does it look space age, but it has a very unique feature, which maybe not in this gun, but in future versions of this gun or future guns with this action, I think will set a standard, and that is the KRISS Vector. The KRISS Vector is a submachine gun made popular around 5-10 years ago, somewhere in there. It originally came out in .45, which is a relatively hard-hitting pistol round. And the reason why it's so unique is because it has a recoil mitigating system inside it, where when the round is fired, instead of the bolt going straight to the rear like most, if not all, firearms, it actually is angled downward and right in front of the magazine well. And that mitigates most of the muzzle climb, and on full auto, the KRISS Vector, even in 45, is very controllable. Recently, the KRISS Vectors came out in 9mm, which hopefully I'll be getting really soon. I ended up getting a Scorpion Evo instead, but I'll get one really soon. They also came out with a 10mm version, which is a fairly potent semi-automatic round and totally capable of killing just about anything in North America. You'll have anywhere from 10 to 33 rounds on tap, incredibly controllable. The KRISS Vector comes in either a pistol configuration, pistol with a brace. You can get it in an SBR configuration. You can even get it in a carbine version with a barrel shroud to make the barrel 16 inches. It has extremely ergonomic controls. I've fired one in the past and it feels amazing when you shoot it. 9mm obviously has very low recoil, but still it even lowers that to the point to where you can just pound 33 rounds in there whenever you feel like it, and I just think that is an amazing and unique design of the KRISS Vector. The MSRP on the KRISS Vector runs right around, I don't remember what the actual MSRP is, but you can get them right now even on Gunbroker as low as $900, which makes them pretty attainable for the average person. Before I get to number 5, I want to give a couple of honorable mentions that I forgot to do at the start of the video, and that is the new CZP-10. There's not a lot that's really unique about it besides the fact that they took all of the features that I like the most in every common pistol today, and they put them all in one neat little package. So I'm pretty excited for that. It's basically a Glock 19 with a great trigger and good sights. So honorable mention, another honorable mention would be the Cobalt Kinetics BAMF. And that is because they are super high-end AR-15, which we've seen a lot before, but it actually, when the last round is fired out of the magazine, it drops the magazine for you, and when you insert a new magazine, it racks the bolt for you, which saves 2 steps in the reloading process. In a real life scenario, that doesn't really mean that much, but in a competition scenario where seconds really matter, that's a really great addition. And if you want that on your AR-15 in the future, I really see that coming into its own somewhere in the future, so that's why it's on the list as well. But number 5 is going to be a gun that I don't personally like that much, but it does have a really unique feature. Again, I don't have a lot of trigger time on this, so I'm not talking down about it, but I'm just not really a revolver guy, but it is the CHIAPPA RHINO. And what's so special about it is instead of a normal revolver where you have the cylinder that spins here, and on the top round of the cylinder, the barrel extends and the round goes out the barrel. When you pull the trigger, the hammer drops down, the round is fired. The CHIAPPA RHINO actually shoots from the bottom cylinder. One of the reasons for that is because it significantly lowers the recoil, so you're able to have a small, compact, even 2-inch snub-nose revolver and have it recoil and have the recoil be almost non-existent. It's a pretty impressive design, I have to admit. It doesn't even have a normal hammer like most revolvers do. It has an internal hammer. The hammer that you actually see when you look at the pistol is a cocking lever. That's basically to allow the pistol to go into single action. So you can have a single action or double action pull depending on what your shot requires. They come in a lot of different calibers. My recommendation would be 357. 357 is powerful enough to do whatever you need it to, and you can also fire smaller, lighter 38 Special if you want to train a little bit cheaper, or if you want to have a smaller statured person like your son or daughter or your wife shoot it, something like that. It comes in a bunch of different barrel configurations as well, 6, 4, and 2 that I know for sure. It even comes in 40 cal, which is normally a semi-automatic pistol round. And if you look over at Yankee Marshall's channel, he raves about it. It has a hexagonal cylinder also, 6-round capacity. Unlike most guns its size, it actually holds 6 rounds instead of 5. The hexagonal cylinder is actually a little more slimline for carry, which is nice. The only issue that I really want to talk about that I've seen on almost every video that I've watched about it is the fact that since the gas bleeds out in the cylinder gap, basically if you're shooting a revolver, there's a little gap between where the cylinder is and where the frame of the revolver is. And out of that bleeds a little bit of gases and the explosion from the barrel going off, and if you have your finger near it, apparently it can slightly burn you or irritate you. I've never seen any serious issues from that. but things can happen, so be careful. But all in all, a great design. And again, maybe the CHIAPPA RHINO isn't the gun of the future, but I'm willing to bet that future revolvers will also have that mechanism. Same goes for all the other guns on this list. If these guns themselves don't make it, future evolutions of those guns or future guns that borrow from that action will. I mean, if you're talking about modern guns, you forget that most modern guns borrow features from other guns, right? Like the Mauser action is in a large portion of the bolt guns that we see today. The Browning action is in lots of the other pistols that we see today. So this is just me talking about some of the unique features that I think will, in the future, be added to other firearms. If you like the video, please like and subscribe. Please help out your local homeless shelters, and remember to recycle. Check you later.